Spain's Dragon 8x8 Infantry Fighting Vehicle program, once envisioned as the crown jewel of the nation's military modernization, has devolved into a prolonged saga of delays, technical setbacks, and public frustration. Initially promoted as a transformative step for the Spanish army, the program aimed to deliver a fleet of domestically produced, highly capable armored vehicles that could replace aging platforms and enhance the country's operational readiness. Instead, it has become a case study in the challenges of defense procurement, exposing systemic inefficiencies and raising serious questions about accountability, project management, and national defense priorities. Defense analysts and industry observers have not minced words in their critique. Jorge Estevez Buges, a prominent Spanish defense commentator, described the Dragon program as a historical shipwreck and called for its immediate halt. In his editorial, he warned that the project has exhausted time, resources, and political capital without producing a single operationally certified vehicle. According to Estevez Buges, the program's failures are not minor hiccups in an otherwise sound process but fundamental flaws that strike at the credibility of the Ministry of Defense and the effectiveness of the Army itself. Despite 15 years of studies, contracts, and redesign efforts, the Dragon 8x8 has yet to meet operational standards. While 127 hulls have been constructed, none have been fully approved for active service. Critical subsystems, including the 30mm turret and the powerpack supplied by SAPA Placencia, have consistently failed tests, leaving vehicles immobile during essential trials. The Army has refused to accept deliveries, citing unresolved integration problems, unreliable propulsion systems, and electronic malfunctions. Estevez Buges described the result as an exercise in institutional denial, where prestige and bureaucratic inertia have perpetuated a program that lacks real battlefield readiness. The program structure has contributed to these issues. Awarded to the Test Defense Consortium in 2020, the Dragon initiative sought to nationalize up to 70% of vehicle components. While this strategy was intended to strengthen domestic defense industry capabilities, it instead created supply chain bottlenecks, component mismatches, and fragmented project management. Estevez Buges argued that the consortium, tasked with integrating various subsystems into a functional vehicle, has failed to deliver on its obligations. The push for domestic production, while politically appealing, has amplified technical challenges rather than resolving them. Even the infantry variant of the Dragon, which was meant to be the first operational configuration, has been plagued by persistent problems. Mechanical components such as pulleys and rear ramps have failed quality tests, while propulsion units remain unstable and electronic systems are frequently non-functional. Vehicles have been found overweight, further compromising performance and maneuverability. These technical deficiencies are not isolated, they reflect deeper structural weaknesses in both design oversight and industrial execution. The failure to address these issues over more than a decade has fueled criticism from military experts and eroded confidence in the program's future. The political dimension of the Dragon program has also drawn scrutiny. Spanish Defense Minister Margarita Robles recently suggested that the ministry would consider appropriate actions if problems persisted. However, critics argue that such statements have little credibility after years of repeated setbacks. Estevez Buges noted that the Army has been forced to improvise operational doctrines around vehicles that remain incomplete, effectively turning procurement failures into tactical compromises. This improvisation, he warned, signals broader institutional damage that extends beyond the program itself. The credibility of the Ministry of Defense, the operational readiness of the Army, and Spain's national defense posture are all at risk when key modernization efforts stall for political or bureaucratic reasons. Cost overruns and resource misallocation have compounded these challenges. While exact figures are often difficult to confirm, industry estimates suggest that billions of euros have been invested in a program that has yet to deliver deployable equipment. For a defense budget constrained by other modernization priorities, this represents a significant opportunity cost. Analysts warn that continuing investment without decisive intervention is unlikely to yield meaningful results. Instead, the program risks becoming a cautionary tale of how ambition, political protection, and bureaucratic momentum can outweigh technical feasibility and operational necessity. Experts argue that immediate corrective measures are essential. Estevez Buges recommends a comprehensive independent audit to assess the program's technical status, cost efficiency, and management practices. Legal enforcement of contractual penalties, restructuring of the consortium responsible for integration, and a potential full cancellation of the program are among the options he considers necessary. While politically sensitive, such measures are framed as responsible steps to protect national security and restore credibility to the Spanish defense establishment. Without decisive action, analysts warn, the Dragon project will continue to drain resources while leaving the army under-equipped for contemporary challenges. The Dragon program's difficulties also reflect broader challenges in defense procurement worldwide. Balancing domestic industrial ambitions with the technical realities of complex military platforms is notoriously difficult. Efforts to nationalize production can generate pride and economic benefits, but they also introduce additional risk, particularly when industrial partners lack experience in integrating advanced systems. Spain's experience with the Dragon 8x8 underscores the importance of aligning political objectives, industrial capacity, and operational requirements from the outset. When these elements fall out of sync, even well-funded programs can become mired in delay, cost overruns, and public criticism. Operational readiness, the ultimate measure of any defense program's success, remains elusive for the Dragon. Vehicles that do exist are not deployable, and attempts to develop operational doctrines around incomplete platforms risk creating inefficient or unsafe practices within the Army. The repeated inability to certify vehicles suggests that structural problems, from design to integration, are entrenched. Analysts emphasize that these failures should not be interpreted as minor setbacks but as fundamental flaws requiring urgent political and technical intervention. Public perception has also been affected. The program was initially marketed as a symbol of modernization and national capability, but ongoing setbacks have fostered skepticism and criticism. Citizens and military observers alike are questioning whether continued investment is justified, particularly when the Army faces ongoing operational requirements that cannot wait for an indefinitely delayed platform. This erosion of public trust, combined with professional critiques from within the defense community, has amplified calls for transparency, accountability, and, if necessary, program termination. In conclusion, the Dragon 8x8 Infantry Fighting Vehicle program represents a cautionary tale for defense planners, industry leaders, and policymakers alike. Years of investment, political backing, and industrial effort have yet to produce a vehicle capable of operational deployment. Technical failures, integration problems, bureaucratic inertia, and political protection have combined to create a program that, according to critics, damages both the Spanish armed forces and the credibility of the Ministry of Defense. Immediate intervention, independent auditing, legal enforcement, and structural reform may offer the only viable path to salvage lessons from the program. Whether the Dragon is ultimately cancelled or restructured, its legacy will likely serve as a stark reminder that ambition without rigorous oversight can undermine even the most high-profile military modernization initiatives. The Spanish army and the nation it serves deserve accountability, effective solutions, and a clear path forward, lessons that extend far beyond the borders of Spain and the confines of a single defense project.